Hey everybody, this is Modern Refugee. This video here is going to be a bit of a continuation on sharing some of my mindset on certain things in preparedness that I don't think people put enough stock into, and want to share my mind. Like I said in the other video, I'm older than I look, and a lot of knowledge was lost with the people that I interacted with growing up when they died. So I want my mind to be out there on this platform, so what I know isn't lost if something happens to me. So that is basically the gist of this video right here. And there is a skill in preparedness that nobody really talks about. People don't discuss this on preparedness YouTube channels enough, and that is the ability to interact with other human beings. This is a skill, and this is a skill that nobody really talks about, with the exception of forming a group. Form a group, find like-minded people, which is all fine and dandy, but what are the odds of every single solitary thing that you're going to need is going to be able to be supplied by your group? That's a big group. So you have to be able to press the flesh. I've often thought about preparedness to a certain extent is a little bit like small town politics. You have to get out and you have to press the flesh. You need to know who's on your side. You need to know who's not on your side. You need to know who has what and how to interact with people, because you know what, you might find yourself in a situation where you're outgunned and you're outnumbered, whether it's in a bar room or it's in a line somewhere waiting for something. Whatever, you might have to interact with people, and here's the thing: you might have to interact with people you don't like. Not everyone is going to be of the same mindset of you. Not everybody's going to be in the same mental state. Not everybody is going to be in the same. People might be scared. They might be dangerous. You're going to have to figure out how to interact with these people, because as nobody's going to be able to just lock themselves up in a little box until bad times pass over. That it just doesn't work that way. So that ability to be both a diplomat and a warrior and be compassionate and be hard, you have to be able to switch from one to the other to the next depending on what the situation is, because every situation in every instance is going to be different. And this ability to interact with people can be used to gain resources, basically. The big thing now is Ukraine. Everything is kind of revolving around that. And one of the things that I've seen on the whole Ukraine situation is they're talking about wheat. Wheat is going to basically skyrocket in price because both Russia and Ukraine are going to be out of the wheat market, at least for this growing season from the look of it. I have wheat here. I've had wheat here for years already. Why do I have wheat? Because I've already made, agreements and deals, and I don't know how you want to say it, bartering back and forth. There's people that I know that grow wheat, and I've gotten wheat from them before, and I'm on the list again for the next time around. We have an agreement. That is something that I thought was important years ago. Hey, you know what? I know people that grow wheat. I should talk to those people so I can get myself a few sacks of wheat every year if it becomes necessary. All these people are in my local area. I don't need an internet. Don't need much of nothing. I know where they're at. They know me. So if I pop in one day and say, hey, I'm here for get a bag of wheat from you guys. I brought some potatoes to trade with you or whatever. That foundation has already been laid. So now you're seeing people on the internet. Wheat's going up. Got to get flour. You got to get this. You got to get that. So now I have multiple layers of resources I have, flour that I've dry canned, and I've done videos on all this stuff, and I've got wheat that I've dried in my backyard and I've put up that I've gotten from these people. So not only do I have a small stockpile of the resources that I need, I also have a source to get that if I use that wheat up and I need to get more. I don't have a farm, so I have to figure out other ways to do that. So the way I do that is I interacted with other people that I know and forged a relationship, and I have a secondary source to secure this very valuable resource that's going to get more valuable because of how I went about doing that. So I wanted that to be known so you guys can utilize that information and possibly do that in your own area. If you can't produce it yourself, you have to either stockpile it or you have to find another way to get that resource, and that is exactly what I did there for wheat. And I watch a couple different travel channels, and there's one guy in particular. The name of the channel is actually Bald and Bankrupt, and it's an English guy that lives in Eastern Europe, and he goes all over places like Russia and Eastern Europe and whatever, and he basically just hangs out with the locals and drinks and kind of parties with them and shows different areas. It's a travel channel. That is a great thing to watch as far as a prepper is concerned, because he is going out into, of course, he speaks the language, but he's going out and he's interacting basically with total strangers in, situations that most people wouldn't basically be caught dead in. But he's going out there and he's meeting people, he's talking to people, he's interacting with people, he's with people who are, not necessarily the cream of the crop sometimes. Sometimes he's with some bad people, sometimes he's with some good people, he's learning culture, he's learning how people go about doing things. This is stuff that you don't see on prepping channels. You never see somebody that's got a bushcraft channel going to the inner city and interacting with people down there, because you never know, you might find yourself in that situation. How do you bridge those gaps? And you bridge those gaps by pressing the flesh, talking to people, knowing when to be nice, knowing when to not be nice. And the only way you can learn how to do that stuff is to actually get out and interact with other people. So those people skills are a valuable prepper skill. They are something that people need to practice, because the prepping community on the internet and on YouTube, everybody is basically hiding behind their screen because you're not interacting with anybody face to face. So people can say this, they can say that, they can get into arguments. But in real life, how is that going to, if you get into an argument with somebody in real life and you need something the other person has, or they need something you have, there's nothing that's going to be able to be worked out there. People start punching each other in the face, ain't nobody going to get nothing. So preppers really need to start looking at their people skills. How are you going to interact with people? And they need to keep that in mind. You might have to interact with people you don't like, and you might have to interact in a situation you don't like, in a world you don't like. And it's not going to be a perfect world after SHTF for anybody. And that's another thing, when you start watching prepping videos and stuff like that, everybody thinks that they're going to interact in their own, how do I want to say this, in their own little mind, that, okay, this is the area, these are just a few people that I'm going to deal with and whatever. That's not going to happen. It's going to be fluid. There's going to be all kinds of other people, other ideas, call it whatever you want. Nothing is ever going to be what you think it is, and that's why I did that little video where I was driving in the snowstorm when we had to go help somebody out that day. SHTF is never going to happen when you want it to, and it's never going to be exactly what you expected it to be. It's always going to be something different, and the ability to react, interact is going to be a lifesaver. And ego, to a certain extent, in YouTube channels is quite large. There are some channels that I watch, I don't know how the ego fits onto the little teeny weeny screen. because there is just a ton of ego out there. And I'm pretty sure that ego is not going to help you out one bit after SHTF. In fact, I think it's probably going to be a detriment. I'm not sure that forceful negotiation is always going to pan out the way they think it is. And I think diplomacy, to a certain extent, is going to be more valuable for most people in most situations. So always keep that in mind. Being able to interact with other people, especially people that you don't like or that don't like you, is going to be a skill. Is going to be something that's going to be valuable the worse the situation is, in my mind. So anyway, this is Modern Refugee. Appreciate all my subscribers out there. Just wanted to put this little piece of my mindset out there to help people. So you guys can look at your own situation, start looking at the people around you and in the area where you're at, and figuring out how to start interacting with people if for some reason you have to. So anyway, you guys take care.